Then the teacher talks about the accident in a very gentle voice, but without being emotional. I was thinking while pulling the hands of my students, and overtaking other children who are waiting for the life-saving boats. Since the boats were only on the opposite side and in the back, she overtook other people waiting in line, pushed her away through other small children on board in order to save her students. She went forward and forward in order to survive. She went forward to the boat. But she thought, well, this really is the happiness of these kids? Is it my duty to take the sin and save them? As I reached thinking like that, I saw a mother crying after finally loading her children on a boat. I saw numerous other parents in the same circumstance. Finally, I couldn't care about what I had in my mind anymore. So I hugged the two kids tightly on the ship that was sinking. The teacher talks about the incident so slowly and gently. While she talks, the sister wipes the brother's wet hair, then finds his shoe from somewhere, and put it on his foot. This scene contains the true greatness of Kenji Miyazawa, who is the author of The Night of the Milky Way, and the one also wrote The Nighthawk Star. In Nighthawk Star, he depicts people who attempt to make others happy through self-sacrifice. That was the theme that Miyazaki had always wanted to depict or had to depict. And that leads to the lyric in the song, At the River That Day. The lyric, the shoe flows away slowly and gets drawn into a small swirl and disappears. Somebody who has lived for me. Miyazaki really tried to make an anime with this theme. Someone who has trouble with crisis, but he's going to be alright. The teacher of The Night of the Milky Way train says, it's going to be alright. Once we get to the Southern Cross, all the pain will be gone. And the three people get off at the station of the Southern Cross. There is a giant cross stands far beyond the horizon, and infinitely many worshippers walked towards the cross in line. The private teacher, the sister, and the younger brother are also dressed like the worshippers and walk along. When the train is leaving Southern Cross Station, Campanella tells Giovanni, I can't go with you anymore. And as soon as he says that, he goes behind the train and disappears. In fact, Campanella drowned after saving his classmate named Zaneri who fell into the river. That's why the body of Campanella was wet, as same with the other three passengers. Campanella sacrificed his life to help his friend. Well now, back to Spirited Away. The child's hand is extending toward water. According to the storyboard, it's a child's hand. It's not Chihiro's because she fell into the river naked. A child's hand is stretched out to save Chihiro. The main part of the discussion in this part is to answer the question of who that is. When Chihiro asked Haku, how do you know my name? Haku says, I've known you since you were small. The reason why he knows Chihiro from a young age despite the fact that he can't even remember his own name is that he is Chihiro's brother. Chihiro did not float her shoe in the river. She herself fell in the river. Her brother pulled her out to help her, but instead he was swept out by the river and did not return. The scene shows how her brother became a god by sacrificing his life for someone else. Chihiro doesn't remember this. She says, I don't remember this, but I heard it from my mother. Even though she says she floated the shoe, she doesn't remember it at all. So, her mother didn't tell Chihiro that she had an older brother, and that he died because of her. The mother only told Chihiro that she almost drowned in a river when she was little. The reason why Haku remembers Chihiro's name, and Kamaji affirms, it's the power of love, is because it's fraternal love. Haku doesn't want to hurt Chihiro's feeling. So even if he remembers what happened, he won't say it nor will Kamaji. In the movie, they say, Kahaku River was filled up with earth and disappeared later. The expression implies death. Because this idea of landfill is a metaphor for burial, funeral for corpse. The reason why the mother is cold to Chihiro. In the early scene of the film, Chihiro says, "Mom, that buildings are making noise," but the mother says, "It's just wind," then she turns around. She doesn't look at Chihiro. Chihiro keeps pulling her mother's hand and talking to her, but the mother ignores her and says to the father, "I should have brought a sandwich from a car." In the senses around here, Chihiro continues to try attracting mother's attention, but she hardly sees Chihiro's face. She talks to Chihiro without looking at her, while she sees the father in the eyes when they talk. Her attitudes towards Chihiro and the father are too different. We've all realized that Chihiro's mother is acting strange. Everyone who saw it noticed it. But why? In the following scene, the mother is walking the rocky area of the river, which is dangerous for herself to walk on. She slips on the rock and hugs the father. Then he says, "It's dangerous." But when they are moving on, all she does to Chihiro is turn around and says, "Be careful, Chihiro," in a cold manner. She unconsciously treats Chihiro badly, because Chihiro is responsible for the eldest son's death. He died when he tried to rescue Chihiro drowned in a river. The mother is cold against Chihiro, but she does that unconsciously. In her mind, she's taking good care of her daughter and she knows it's not her fault that her son died. But unconsciously her true feeling reveals in her attitudes, such as not looking to Chihiro's face or talking to her in a cold tone of voice. The parents are hiding the fact that they lost their eldest son to Chihiro. That's why the mother is cold to Chihiro. Finally, everything makes sense now. The reason why the mother is being so cold to Chihiro without any explanations. And why Haku says to Chihiro that he knew her for a long time, but doesn't tell her where and when they've met. If Haku was a god, as he said, then it doesn't make sense that Chihiro can see him from the first scene. Because in this world, gods are not visible to human beings until it gets dark at night, and they arrive at the resort kind of place. Haku is turning into the god of Kahaku River, but he's not one yet. He originally is a human, a brother of Chihiro. Haku died for Chihiro. So Chihiro in return, went to apologize to Geneva for Haku by taking a one-way train. Traveling on a one-way train means that she went to the world of death where she can't return, for Haku. The theme of Spirited Away concludes. When a person is alive, it is because someone has made them alive, and returning the favor by living for someone else. It's clear for anyone's eyes that Chihiro goes to the world of death. After Kamaji tells her that no one can return from the world of death, she still rides on the train without a way back. It means that she is willing to give up her life to save Haku. That's how the theme complete here. She realizes that she has never noticed that someone has saved her life. Then she decides that she's going to risk her life for someone as well. So, at the end, the theme makes a full circle. How did you like the video? Hope I was able to make it clear, the theme of Spirited Away. Appreciate your feedback in the comments section. I'll continue to introduce many more trivia and behind-the-scenes stories related to Miyazaki's film on this channel, so be sure to stay tuned. Bye!